Are you with us, Patrick?
Yes, I am.
Good. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask and I'm doing it very badly.
No worries.
Just
I
bear with me.
got really
All right.
between.
There we go. Okay, you're with us. Welcome to the show.
Hello there. I've got one hopefully quick question first, just to throw out there. I was talking to a guy who I just met, and we were talking about evolution and everything, and he studies it. And he was saying that and I just wanted to see if this was actually true, that there's a controversy right now, or has been, because we're Homo sapiens, and we've come from a long line of other or we related to kind of Homo erectus and things like that. And he was saying that chimpanzees who also share that lineages aren't called Homo whatever, and he was saying that that should be changed or redefined. And I just wanted to find out if that's actually true, if they actually do, if there is that kind of controversy out there. Maybe another question for Aaron Ra, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
Phylogeny. Yeah, let me take this.
Sorry, yes,
phylogeny is almost arbitrary at the level of genus and species. The actual scientists don't use those labels except to agree on some particular identity. But when it actually comes down to it, they will use, say, biometric comparisons, where you're looking at a particular length of something or the ratio of something to something else. They don't. Those are arbitrary categories, and it's really just a tradition in biology to come up with these Latin names for a particular group. And the reason for that is there's so much diversity and so few samples from that diversity that it is very hard to draw a narrative to justify those arbitrary categories, where we could be looking at the same group. So it's basically not important in the real science involved. Now, there are controversies, and organismal biologists do get a little hung up sometimes on phylogenies, but the kinds of measurements they use are qualitative and not quantitative. So it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't matter. As a molecular biologist, it doesn't matter to me which particular species we're actually talking about. I'm much more interested in where it fits in phylogenetically or based on some biometric comparison.
Sure. That's great. I just wanted to find that out. There was, but the other more broader and a longer question, I think will require a longer answer. And it's completely unrelated. Is that I was wondering if anybody was aware of the Rebecca Watson controversy between her and Richard Dawkins. And
yes.
Privilege delusion and everything. And it's just I came across it on a great podcast called Citizen Radio, who I absolutely love, and I normally agree with them wholeheartedly on most issues, like on atheism, politically, and so on. But they just went right on to town on this poor guy. Oh, well, I perceive as a poor guy involved in this. The guy who chatted up Rebecca Watson, and now he's being accused of all sorts of things. And and I couldn't. Yeah, and I was just kind of like, sorry, am I missing something here?
Well, the thing is, a clumsy advance is a clumsy advance, and it shouldn't be construed as something insidious. Although, if you look at, I think that every person's actions and words in this incident have each in their own right been blown completely out of proportion, and it's a tempest in a teapot. If you look at what Rebecca actually said originally, it was really just her sort of rolling her eyes at the prospect of men propositioning her so quickly and so frequently, and just basically her getting kind of sick of it. She didn't, her actual words, she wasn't vilifying this person, but then a lot of other people have taken this issue and run with it and have done exactly that.
Do we need to quickly review what happened? I think, can I encapsulate this a little bit?
Yeah, please do.
So, if some of you may know Rebecca Watson, she's on the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. She's runs a blog. Oh hell! She runs a Skepchick blog, and she was approached by someone who we now just all call Elevator Guy. An elevator guy asked her up to his room for coffee at 4 a.m. after she had just, given a talk about feminism and not objectifying women and making them feel more comfortable. And this kind of sparked off a discussion about what feminism is in the atheist community and how it's not you know, we are not a truly equitable group. And then there were some other female bloggers that disagreed with her, and she called them out by name in her keynote speech when she was talking to a group of other atheists, and by name, and you know, it was a student that was being mentioned, and some people felt that that was very inappropriate for her as a keynote speaker to sort of name names and make her very uncomfortable. And it's kind of split the group. It really has become very divisive as an issue about who is sort of more wrong. You know, I think both sides are fairly much in agreement that we could do more for the feminist perspective, but there's a big difference on whether or not her response, Rebecca, was appropriate or inappropriate or overdone. It's messed up, definitely.
Sure. The reason why I bring it up is just because, again, I was listening to this great podcast I normally love, and it was just insane to what a degree that at least these guys and maybe some others have gone against this elevator guy, as we're calling him, because it's gone from a guy. Because I just pictured me in that situation as him, just thinking that, I don't know, I haven't read the whole lot and I don't know, but I could just imagine myself kind of being right, I really want to talk to this girl and she's now leaving and I'm not going to get this opportunity again to go and talk to her. So just kind of running up and, you know, choosing an elevator of all places and just going, hi, would you like to talk sometime, get a coffee or something?
Exactly.
And then beyond that, it was like, because then it was kind of like some people have said, well, when you're in an elevator and you're getting chatted up, there's there's a suggestion that they may rape you, and I just kind of went, where did that come from? Sorry, I'm like, they'd
better be quick about it, unless it's a very long elevator.
Well,
but no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to bring this to a close, because to me this is gossip. I'm not interested in it. I have heard people talk about it. To me, it's not worth wasting my time on. And I'm not being dismissive about the whole issue. I'll just make one point about it. To a large degree, the recipient's attitude is actually what is instructive in this situation. For example, if somebody was, let's take a romantic situation, such as being sent a flower, if it came from someone as incredibly handsome and intelligent and wonderful as me, they're obviously going to think, wow, that's wonderful. If the flower came from Nephilim Free, they're going to think, ugh, God, I don't want to touch it, I don't know where it's been. So, you know, if you don't understand what I'm saying, then so be it. But I just don't want to waste any more time talking about it. It's an interesting point, Patrick, but
sure,
for me, it's just gossip.
DPR, one last thing. All right, and that is that Richard Dawkins...
Patrick, I'm going to remove you now.
Fine.
Sorry,
Thank
do
you
go
very
on,
much.
Concordance.
Richard Dawkins really put his foot in his mouth. I was really disappointed by his comment. If you haven't read it, I'm sorry.
I haven't, and I'm not interested. But
no, it's quite disturbing. He was very dismissive. He drew a false comparison. He used bad logic to just...
I think if you're talking about some reference to Islam that he subsequently apologized
she
about...
needs to stop complaining about people propositioning her in the elevator, because the plight of women in Islam is so much worse that she shouldn't be worried about what's happened. It was just a horrible comment.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to defend any side on this. I just think it's an argument or a conversation not worthy to have. We've got the purple turtle. I'm sorry, you know I'm only joking. The puppy turtle, who has been a caller on 2 previous occasions, I think. Welcome to the show.
Are you there?
You might want to unmute your microphone.
Well, he answered. We can't hear you, puppy.
Yeah, you might want to...
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. We've got you. How are you, sir?
I am good. Here, I want to go back to the... first off, I want to say, so this makes sense, half the people calling probably are unaware that I accepted evolution a number of weeks ago.
I wasn't aware of that. By accepting it, do you want to talk us through what you mean by that?
Oh, I was, by accepted I mean I now accepted it. Is that not self-explanatory language.
So, well, I don't think it. I think it is for many, but let me just sort of like spell it out because a lot of people may not know. When you first called in, which I think was at the beginning of the year, you were a young Earth creationist and someone who followed and supported Shock of God and Nephilim Free. Would that be correct?
Yes.
And now you're saying that you've accepted evolution. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just trying to put it into context. Okay. Sorry, do carry on.
Yeah. Here's my worry with the Christian conservative creationist work that are being discussed for the topic of the show. It's not so much that they will become president, because I'm not so sure that they will. But what worries me is, even if they lose, that section of air of her saying, of a human saying that there is no proof that CO2 causes harm, is now leaked out into space to get picked up by SETI programs that aliens are running. That may be, their first image of humanity may be, see, here's the thing, guys. This question is causing atheists to leave atheism. That question is, what, and I'm not even going to say it because I hate it so much.
I mean, there are many things, as you say, if there are people doing similar SETI experiments as we are, there are many things that I think that we would be embarrassed and ashamed of, and they would look at us and think, what on earth are they thinking of? And one of them, I have to say, is religion. And I just find it absolutely extraordinary. I have to keep on pinching myself, thinking, are we still having this same conversation in the 21st century, that there is an imaginary person in the sky looking after us? And I think that in a few hundred years it may well be the case that people then will look back on us and think, what on earth? In the same way as we look back to the Middle Ages, and we look at ideas such as leeches can cure diseases and things like that. I suspect they may well look back at us and think, religion? I mean, what on earth were they on about?
The thing, I mean, keep in mind, they would have presumably had, I mean, I'm still a Christian saint, by the way, but they would have presumably had a religion at this stage too. But the thing that it is if I'm just worried that, like, if we, like, for example, if we were to, the first thing we saw from an alien race, or the first thing we heard was Shock of God's question, or Nephilim Free's definition of morphology, or the Lunar Bukake theory, or Sarah Palin's interview with Charlie, that kind of thing, that's the worst thing that could happen to the human race, because they would annihilate us.
Well, no, they would probably think that planet is not worth bothering with. Concordance Almighty, do you want to comment?
Nah.
Well, I think you made such a good point, no one can come back on you. And I also noticed the time, and I want to get 2 more callers in if I